now to calm things down a little bit, I hope, because this is the kid's coming up here quite a time. But I'm gonna let her up here. She really needs no introduction. Kid O'Toole, what's going on, kid?
Hey, Joe, good to be here. Sorry it took me a little bit to get here,
No.
but I'm glad I'm here.
I'm so glad you're up here, kid. Of course, let's say right from the beginning, and you know this already, you were very, very heavily missed at the fest, and
I was
people are
so
asking for you.
Oh, thank you. I was so disappointed I couldn't be there, but family first, and but thank you everybody for your comments. Dad's doing better.
Yes,
Glad to report. Still has a ways to go, but it's he's doing a lot better than he was
good.
last week. So
That's good.
uh,
So it was worth it too, right? Helping him out, staying.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
and so it was. So thank you, Steve. Yes, I got my haircut yesterday, and so I somehow knew that I was going to be up here today, and so I got my hair did yesterday.
Yeah. Yep.
So I only the best for Joe for this show.
Oh, thank you so much.
Of
That's nice. I got
course,
my hair. I got my hair cut for the
very
fest. So
nice.
there you go.
There you
Well,
go.
of course, I don't know, before we get started on other things, maybe. Well, of course, I know you're excited, and we talked a little about it in text about me maybe going to my first Chicago fest.
Oh, I am
So
so excited. I We were making you hungry, I know, because hey Kimba, because we're all excited to give you the Chicago experience and get you to either Portillo's or one of my other favorite hot dog joints, Super Dog. Forget
yeah,
the Beatles stuff. Forget that.
yeah. And I didn't.
That we got to do that.
I didn't put two and two together at first. I was slow. First she says in the text, she says, I want you to go to Portillo's, and I'm thinking of first an Italian restaurant. I'm thinking,
Mhm.
then I'm thinking, oh, maybe it's a record. Is that a record store? She goes, no, no, that's not a record store.
No. I'd love
So,
to get you to my record store, Blue Village Vinyl, too, and I don't know if we're going to be able to pack everything in.
well,
But
because that's the thing. We were thinking about whether we should go Thursday because the show is Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, and we were thinking of maybe going Thursday, but then that's extra night in the hotel, more money. You're trying to save money wherever you can. So we're probably going to go Friday. And I mean, there's a few hours before the fest on Friday, when it
yeah, so
starts.
we'll see. We might be able to pack some things in, but for sure we're doing the hot dog. And some people are saying, yes, Woodland Goblin, yeah, the pizza. Well, we're going to be able to get some pizza in as well for Sunday and everything. So don't worry, we're gonna have you covered.
Yeah.
Don't worry. We're going to give you the Chicago treatment, and in a good way. I don't mean that sounds really ominous. No, it's it's in a good way.
Yeah. I tell Yelly man, since I haven't seen you in a long time, I'll do it. Take on me, take on me. I don't know the rest of it, but there you go. It's been a long time, so I figured I'd do that for you.
No, there you go. Love it, love it. And yes, Steve mentioned Chicago. I love Chicago. Although there's a band out there that's even, I hate to say it, but better than the version of Chicago. There's only, I think, like one original member left. That's even better. And they're Russian.
Yeah.
There's, called Leonid and Friends. And they were, in fact, the last concert I saw before COVID hit.
Hmm.
And they are incredible. And they also have expanded their repertoire. They also cover Earth, Wind, and Fire, Tower of Power, a bunch of other acts. But I'll tell you, if they come out your way, Joe, you or anyone else out there, go see them. They are incredible. I mean, and they do some 80s Chicago, but more importantly, they do the 70s Chicago, like the peak
Yeah, and I was hearing
Chicago.
some Chicago other. I always like the ones, the usual songs, but just a weird timing because I don't go crazy delving that deep usually. But I was
Mm,
listening to Chicago on the radio, typical Chicago music the other day, and I said I never really delved deep into Chicago. I wonder if I would do that. I got an inkling.
mm.
I wonder if I should do that. It's funny how these things are synchronized sometimes.
Yeah, I mean it's really good. I mean, part of it is, I admit I grew up on it. My dad is a huge Chicago fan. I mean, he saw some of their shows when they were still called Chicago Transit Authority,
Yeah.
like in the early days. So I grew up on this stuff, So I really I love their stuff. So but yes, RAX V Spinner. Go listen to Chicago. But 70s. I mean, the 80s stuff was okay. It was okay, but that's not the real, the real horn filled Chicago. Oh, the Buckinghams. Yes. Now they were a little before my time, but Buckinghams were great. I mean, they really were. Other good one. This is a funny story. Well, maybe kind of funny. I don't know, not knee slapping funny, but there was another Chicago band that it was a one, well, maybe two hit, but mainly one hit wonder called the Ides of March. Remember Vehicle? Or that song, I'm Your Vehicle.
When
I'll
I
take you
hear it,
anywhere you want to go. Yep. Great horns and all. Well, that was a Chicago band. And the lead singer of that, and who also wrote Eye of the Tiger, is still around. Jim Peterick, um, still plays around, and so they had this one hit, and they were from a suburb not far from me, Berwyn, Illinois, and I ran into one of the horn players from that group at, of all places, a tamale restaurant,
oh yeah,
like 10
tamales.
years ago, and somebody introduced me to him, and so I told him, I said, "Oh, Vehicle, that was a great song." And I said, particularly the horns, the
Uh,
horns in the middle. And he puffed his chest out and he's like, said, "That was me. I was one
yeah.
of the horn players."
Oh, look at that.
And I said, "Oh, well, that really made the song for me." And he leaned in, he said, "They named a street in Berwyn after us."
Uh,
And I said, "Well, that's great. I'll go see it." And I mean, he walked out of there like he had grown 10 feet. I mean, it was really funny. So you never know who you'll run into at a tamale restaurant.
no, or anywhere.
Yeah, exactly.
There you go.
So I don't know if I've heard that version. But I could imagine they could
Uh,
do it with the horns.
well, wasn't it because of just the legalities? They didn't want Beatles Fest in the one name.
That's what I've heard. And it was bizarre because Beetle Fest, the name had been in existence for years. So why they
Yeah,
just picked up on it is weird.
it's weird, but Beatle Fest, but it's okay to say Beatles fans.
Yeah, I don't get it. I mean, why they suddenly changed it. I think that was also around the time. Yep, that's the song. I think that was also around the time that they also cracked down on bootlegs in the marketplace, and you know,
Oh,
I don't know if they got somebody new at Apple that suddenly, discovered all of this. I mean, it was really strange. I don't know what that was
yeah.
about.
Now the hotel at Chicago, it's supposed to be a bigger affair there at the Beatle Fest.
Definitely. So it's bigger now. I mean, sure, I admit it's my hometown, so it's, I'm a little biased, but it's much more spacious.
Yeah.
And so you're more spread out, but in a good way.
Yeah, not because this wasn't necessarily in a good way. This wasn't. You've seen the videos, I guess, that I did.
Yes.
The lobby. Forget you walk in, the lobby is amazing.
Yeah.
And I like the way they had the Apple Jam, or if that's what they called it, the stage in there in the lobby to
Mhm.
play in there, and then you
Yeah.
had to go an elevator down to get to the fest, 4 floors down, which
Yeah.
was weird. Everybody kept wanting to go up. It was weird. Like you go up, no, no. The fourth floor is the lobby. The first
Mhm.
floor is the fest. So you had to go down, and then you see some of the spread. A lot of walking. Things were very all over the
That's
place.
that's what I've heard. And yeah, that it was really spread out. The way it is, it's usually laid out, and yes, Elliot, unless there's some big emergency, I'll be there because I live in the Chicago area. So unless
Fingers
there is some,
crossed.
yep, unless there is some big emergency, I'll be there. Because I don't live far from the hotel. So, but anyway, the way it usually works in Chicago, it's the events are spread out, but not like that. They're not like on like four. It's not like you have to take four, or even in the New Jersey hotel, like the authors and the marketplace are on like floor 8, and then you go down to floor 1 for another thing. It's not like that.
Mm,
um it'll either be some years it's all like in one wing,
mm,
where it's all on one floor, yeah, and
mm.
it's just in different rooms. Some years it'll be like some activities will be on a lower level, and then you go up one level for some of the other stuff. So it's like that.
Well, what weird here? Like one thing that was weird. It took me a while to find it. That's why I'm glad I got there early for this one because you had to get the lay of the land. If you just went in there cold for just Saturday,
Mm-hmm.
you're gonna have a hard time. But if you got there early and you could scout around, you'd find things. I found out again. Like I said, you had this lobby that was looked like the '60s retro, and
Yeah.
at the way at the end of this somewhere, I mean, it was like way at the end and down a hall was
Mm-hmm.
a room where they did the trivia and that stuff, like
Yep.
Tom Frangione and everything. The rest of it, we had to go down the fest. It wasn't the fest really there. That wasn't part of the fest. That was just a room in the lobby. Then you had
Mm-hmm.
to go down into the fest itself for everything else.
Yeah, yeah, that's what I've heard. Yeah, I heard the same thing from as Elliot just said. Yeah,
Yeah,
I think people lost weight
yeah, oh, yeah, yeah.
from this
Well,
fest,
that's not a bad thing. I was happy about that. But
but it's not that bad in Chicago. Yeah. Mm,
I'm trying to really wonder about this. Like the highest ranking member of the Beatles
yeah.
family to ever appear. How do we think? Like, who was the biggest guest they ever had there? I mean,
Mm,
how? What?
I'm
I
trying to
mean,
think. Um,
Mike McCartney is Paul's brother.
yeah, he was at a fest. I think that was before I started going, guys.
Yeah,
I
I
don't
saw
remember
him
him
at one of
ever.
them.
But yeah.
And Harry Nielsen and Billy Preston,
Yep, and I saw them.
Mal
And
Evans,
then yeah, I was going to say Mel Evans.
which
That
I
was
didn't get
pretty.
to see
Of
Mal.
course, yeah. Of course, we didn't get to see him.
Victor Spinetti
Um,
was at a few. Uh,
yes, I
was
saw
you
him.
know
Yep, he was there. Trying to think. Well, Astrid.
Astrid, of
Um,
course. Yeah,
yeah, that was one of the most thrilling moments I
was
ever
Alan
remember
Williams
from the
ever there?
fest. I'm trying to remember. Not
I don't know.
100% sure. Yeah, I'm trying to remember if he was. He might have been. I don't know. I'd have to go back and look. I don't remember. Oh, Klaus. Yeah,
Klaus
Mike
Vorman, sure.
Klaus.
Yeah.
Yes, he's been there many times. I remember. I was such an idiot when I met him because I got kind of starstruck. I
Uh,
met him, and I had a poster of oh yeah, Pete Best and Andy White.
yeah,
Yeah,
Pete
but
Best. We forgot Pete.
duh. That's right. But yeah, I remember I had a poster of the Anthology One cover art. I got it. It was given out free when Anthology One came out at Borders. And I went there at midnight, and they gave out a poster of the cover art. And so I went there to at the fest this one year to have them sign it. And when I got up, I stood in line. All I got up, and then it was like my brain just went blank. I mean, I really was starstruck. And I mean, I just just to sign it. I
And
mean,
he's such a sweet guy. Such
he
a
really is. But it was like the one time that I really just was starstruck, and I just babbled when I saw him.
yeah. I got to meet Harry. I got an autographed Pussycats album cover.
Hmm.
Yep.
Yep,
Yeah.
absolutely. And Billy Preston, that was a thrill.
I didn't
I
get to see Billy. You know.
Yeah, he was not in. That was in
Yes.
Chicago. He was not in great shape.
He tells that story, Mark, about how he wasn't really not feeling well, and then he just when he was time to go on, he liked to give an amazing performance.
I remember sitting in the front row with Al Sussman, and we were actually sitting on the floor because Al was getting pictures for Beatle Fan, and so we were sitting on the floor. And I'll never forget when Billy, went up to the piano to do the, I mean, he sang and then did the solo for Get Back, and I was just
Mm.
like, wow. I mean, it was exactly. I mean, as unwell as he was, he still did it. You know,
Yeah, and
wow.
Elliot here was a friend of David Peel. I almost got a chance to meet David Peel, just he passed away.
Oh
So,
wow, boy, that would be really cool to meet him.
you know, yeah.
My gosh, that's really and yeah, I never. Some people mentioned Victor Spinetti. Yeah, I
Mm,
saw him. I didn't get to meet him,
yeah.
face to face,
Mm.
but yeah, I saw him. No, he seemed like a nice guy. Everybody.
Louise Harrison.
Yeah, I have a couple of Louise Harrison stories.
Oh, I didn't know. Are they stories you can tell, or you rather
I
not?
don't know if I'm going to tell them, but
All right, let's
let's
save
let's
them.
just say she could be a little surly. And
Oh, okay.
yeah, I just she was a character. Let's put it that way. Hmm. Yeah. Well, I think the thing is, Apple Pitts is saying, they could never coax Paul or Ringo to make an appearance. They're not. I mean,
No,
there's
they're not
there's
going
no
to.
way.
But virtually these days, maybe why couldn't they maybe do a virtual thing? Hello, so
Yeah,
talk
I
with.
mean, that's the best you could hope for, and maybe a video appear or like a pre-taped greeting or something. Because let's face it, they can, Paul can fill stadiums,
Yeah,
and maybe not Ringo, but I mean
yeah.
Ringo can though. I mean, they're not going to,
But they look
and
at it as different things too. I think they think of it could be dangerous. It's people,
yeah,
mobs.
exactly. I mean, even though, I mean, most of us that go to the fest are sane, and would never do anything like that.
Yes.
Uh,
And Julia Baird has been
he's
there.
been there. Yeah. In fact, I have a picture with her, and it's unfortunate because it was at the end of the day, and she was kind of tired, and so the picture is not the best. I don't think she was in the best of moods
Mm,
by the end of the day, and
yeah.
so it's not a great shot of her, but she was very nice. I mean, but yeah, she's been there. Um and yeah, I don't think yeah, it's and Apple Pits saying, but Paul has made surprise appearances at coffee houses. Yeah, but I don't know. I've also heard that. I mean, obviously, Paul and Ringo and John and George, back in the '70s, gave their blessing for this.
Yeah.
I don't know how much they love the fest. I've heard privately they've made some not so nice comments about, some of the people who, the guests who've been there, which I don't agree with, obviously. But, I think they could be a little more understanding about it. Um, but,
Try to find the photo. Keep going.
oh,
Save
oh,
me.
sure. Oh, go,
Save me
yeah.
while I'm looking.
Oh, okay. All right. Sure. I can stall. But, but, and I don't agree with that. I think they could be more positive about the fest. Give me a break. But, I don't know. And now John, I think, had a more positive view of the fest, and in fact, as we know, sent May, and I don't know if he sent anyone else to buy some memorabilia for him.
Well, yeah, the people probably know this story, but there may be some who don't. Paul, John. See, I'm so got Paul on the brain. John, I was asked by Mark originally permission to do the fest. He actually, he was at the March for Dimes. He was at the March for Dimes, John, with Harry Nielsen, I believe it was in '74. And Mark found out where John was staying, went up to the hotel room. I guess you could do that back then. And
Yeah.
knocked on the door. And Harry Nielsen opened up the door. Mark always tells the story, and he says, yeah, I'd like to speak to John or something like that. And Harry just went, like that. And there comes John, and he says he asked him, told him he had this idea about doing something to celebrate the 10th anniversary of the Beatles coming to America. And he told him his idea, and John said, "I'm all for it. I'm a Beatles fan too."
Yeah,
And then
exactly.
I'm
Yeah.
gonna I'm gonna show you something which I had never seen. You might have seen this and known about it. I never knew
Yeah.
about it. I saw a video recently where Mark showed a signature that he got from John,
Oh,
have you ever seen this?
I'm not sure. Let me see.
It's not as clear as I'd like it to be. Hopefully, uh, give it a chance to focus here. He showed
Okay.
it in a book. Wait a minute.
No,
Wait a minute. You know how it goes here.
I know.
When you
No
want to show
worries.
something,
No worries.
stay there.
I'm here.
Give it a second. It'll clear. It'll
Okay.
clear. It did last time.
Oh, okay. I see it. I see
To
it.
Mark with love from John Lennon, September Beatle Fest, 1974.
Wow. No, I don't think I've seen that
There's a
before.
video where of Mark, recent video of him showing the book and opening it up,
My gosh. No, I've never seen that.
and that is pretty amazing.
That is really
Imagine
cool.
having that.
Wow. I I
So
mean,
you
wow.
know, that's cool, man.
Very cool. My gosh. Yeah, and yeah, and as RXB Spitter said, he even drew a pic. Yeah, that
Yeah,
is really
yeah.
cool. Yeah, I think he maybe got the fest a bit more than some of the others. Oh, thank you.
There
That's
you
very
go.
that's very sweet. Thank you very much. Well, I love coming on Joe's show. We always have a good time.
Yep.
Just like John gets the fest, we get each other.
Yeah, yeah. And we see eye to eye on a lot of things. Some
We
things
do.
maybe some things we don't. Like for example, you love Press to Play, right?
That's right.
Now
Yeah, I
this
do.
album, I just can't take it.
I had to put that
I
up at that
should have
point.
known. I should have known that was coming.
Yeah, yeah, but
That's
but
so funny.
I don't feel that way about it anymore, really.
No, you're
So
not. You're not as you
no,
don't hate on it quite as much as you did. You've
no,
come around a little bit.
yeah, yeah, a little bit.
Yeah. but um, but yeah, somebody mentioned just a couple of comments here. Oh
I'm
yeah.
sorry.
Oh no, that's okay. Yeah, Joseph Mandaneo, hi there. Said that yeah, Paul gave his brother a lot of flack for going to the
Really?
fest.
Is that
I've heard
true?
that too. I've heard that too. Unfortunately, yeah,
Why?
yeah, that's stupid. I mean that's ridiculous. And after that, uh, RAXB Spinner said, you would think Beatles would be glad they have new generations of fans that go to a fest, and I agree. I mean, I think it's another way to keep the fandom going. Because you do see, and I don't know, did you see at this fest, Joe? Were there younger fans there? I mean, did you
Yeah, oh
notice
yeah,
that?
there always are younger fans
Good.
there, but no, but predominantly they're older, sure.
Yeah. Oh, sure. Oh, sure. But
But
yeah.
always younger fans carrying the torch, and that's what I always say. Whether you go to a Paul show, you'll see them. Whether you go to a Beatle fest, a record store, in my record store, there's always young kids buying them. And in the school, there may be one person in the school or two. But I
Mhm.
say, when you put them globally, they all add up. And there's always going to be young fans because their music carries over
Yeah,
to new
exactly.
generation.
Well, what I was really glad to see, and hopefully you'll see them in Chicago in August. There were these two, I'd say maybe I don't know, 18ish year old guys who came to a lot of the panels at the Chicago Fest last year, and I mean they gave me hope for the future. They were fantastic. I mean, they came to so many of the panels. They were asking questions, and they would bring in their own perspectives, and particularly, this is interesting, they would talk about how they discovered the Beatles and developed their collections, and of course
Hmm.
they had a different perspective because it was
Hmm.
all like MP3s and things like that, and obviously very different than the way we did it,
Hmm.
but they were still really fascinated with the Beatles and wanted to learn. And I
Yes.
was like, yes, this is, you know, there's hope.
That's why I like seeing like the generations panel that they have all the time. They have different generation members on the panels at the fest,
Yeah, that was one of
and
the ones I was so bummed to miss. I was supposed to be on
yeah,
that. Yeah.
I like those, and you have like Caitlin Larkin from Sirius XM now talking about that, and Skylar, and all these younger people are talking about how they got into it. Some people got into the anthology.
Hmm.
They got into it, and some of them got into it for Rock Band.
Yeah.
Some of them Beatles won.
Exactly. Yeah. So I mean it's really great. So yeah, I mean if the fest is another way to further, bring people in, that's great. Oh, favorite solo record. Boy, that's hard. We've kind of talked a bit about this on Talk More Talk.
That's tough. It really is
Oh,
tough.
that's so tough because I mean just one. I mean, because yeah, I mean all things must pass is up there. Um Gosh, I mean, because Band on the Run is Imagine. I mean, hard to pick just one. I mean, those are the top ones, I would say. But picking one that's like, who's your favorite child?
Yeah. Well, Marcus, that's when the cameras are on.
That's right.
That's
Yep.
behind the scenes, like I experienced myself once. We're not going to go into it here again. I've done it talked about the story many times. I saw him yell at a fan once and stuff, and
Mhm.
but we're not going to go there. That's why that's
Yep.
why this we have people here, Kit, that sometimes yeah,
Yep. And
he is to his
hey,
fans.
we're all like that. We're all sweet and nice on camera, but when we're off camera, we're nightmares.
To which Marcus responds to this. Well, that was one. That was one. I wish I hadn't witnessed it, but I did.
Yeah, yeah.
But it's
I've
okay.
heard other stories too. If you catch
Yeah,
them on
well,
a bad
but
day,
overall, I want to say, Paul. I got to say, I've always given Paul kudos. He does an amazing job. His whole career being nice, generally nice, professional. Wants everybody, for the most part, to feel comfortable in his presence. He knows how to be as he's one way as himself, and he's another way as Paul McCartney. The
yeah,
guy, he's able to regulate that and balance it. I think he's done fantastic his whole
yeah,
career with that.
absolutely.
So
And I mean, there are some instances like, I mean, I would never, bother celebrity. I mean, you hear stories of like, people coming up to celebrities at dinner and interrupting them and that kind of thing. I would
yeah,
be pissed if someone did that to
no,
me.
no, I
I
couldn't do
mean,
that.
there are limits, and I
Yeah,
totally agree with that.
yeah.
Yes, Danny Donuts still does the fest. You know Danny Donuts?
No, I
No,
don't think so.
okay. He's a nice guy. He actually used to be Chicago based. Now I think he lives in Michigan. He does show. Well, he does a couple of things. He does shows for the kids. He does a lot of like parades and stuff, and then he also has. This sounds really kind of offbeat, but he has a polka band
No,
and
great.
he does polka covers. He's on the Apple Jam stage and all, and he also does a comedy thing where, like, toward the end of the night of each night, he does um, kind of wrap ups of each day of the fest, and he's a sweet guy. He has fun. He has fun. So
Yeah,
that's who Danny Donuts is. So
Danny's
you'll
big.
meet him. He's fun. He's a lot of fun. So
But I have
yes,
to.
he's at the
I can't. I'm dying to address this. I'm sorry. I have to address this because how do
yeah.
I do this? What's annoying about this Woodland? Me and Woodland always do this friendly back and forth banter.
Mhm.
Here's the thing: we know that John could have a rough edge. The
Mhm.
problem these days is trying to realize that John wasn't always a bad guy, that he
Yeah,
wasn't always rough. Because these days they just keep telling how mean he was. But actually, of course, he got pissed. Everybody knows that, but not everybody knows that Paul does.
yeah,
Everybody thinks Paul's always sweet, so we have to show you. We know that John had the edge,
right.
but he's actually quite good most of the time. As I'm seeing in photos, there's a Facebook page. It's called "The Love of John Lennon,"
Mm,
and every time I see there's photos of him with just people on the street signing for
yeah,
everybody in New York.
I've
Now,
seen that.
I know some people personally that told me he wouldn't sign for them at times, but most of the people would be surprised to see how nice and obliging John was in giving with signing the autographs, including one jerk of all jerks that shouldn't be
Should
named.
remain nameless.
So
Yes.
let's so Woodland. I know what you're trying to say, Lillian, but I've got only one thing to give you for that. There you go. Uh, I had to give you the old poke in the eyes.
There you go. Okay, let me say one thing that um, yeah, that's what I've heard too. Apple Pitts is bringing up, yeah, about John
I'm not even
punching.
going to highlight it
Yeah,
because
but
he never. I don't think he ever punched a woman.
Yep.
I
Let
I
let
I, I watch the words. I watch
yeah.
the words.
Yep. Let me say this, because I can say, as a woman,
Yes.
let me mention this. So obviously, as a woman, of course, I do not in any way condone John hitting women, okay?
Never.
Or any man hitting a woman.
Not
Believe
even
me,
once.
yep, believe me. If I had been in that situation, I would be, you know, saying, "Get the hell out of here," and I would leave. And, so let me say that right up front. Okay. Now, I do not in any way, and yes, I understand, Apple Pitch, you're being facetious. I know, but I think it's important to be said. I in no way, in any way, endorse it. However, with him though, he learned. He didn't stay that way. He really learned that, from Yoko. I mean, I'll give her a lot of credit with this, that, she didn't put up with that crap. And she really, I think,
Feminized him.
yeah, she really did. And, if you listen to Double Fantasy, well, and even before that, on Walls and Bridges and all, I mean, I think, but particularly Double Fantasy, he learned from
Yeah.
the experience. He know he screwed up.
Yeah.
And, and he talked about that, in Liverpool, it was a macho culture.
Yeah.
And I think Paul talked about it too in interviews. And I think they all learned along the way that that was wrong, about the way they viewed women. And if John hadn't changed, and if he hadn't admitted that he screwed up, and learned from the experience, um, I would not have given him a pass. And I'm not giving him a complete
Right.
pass. Let
Right.
me let
Right.
me clarify that. I'm not saying that. But if he had just, continued treating women like that, I absolutely would have said, he's a jerk, and that's that. But big difference, if that he actually learned and admitted he screwed up, and bettered himself.
Exactly. And that beautiful song, "Woman,"
Yes.
couldn't have been written. You know.
Hmm.
It came full circle, and and this here, again, nobody realizes that Ringo admitted himself he beat up Barbara. He beat her up. Okay.
Hmm. Yeah.
Now, this is not like let's be miserable and morbid here, but the thing
Yeah.
is, people don't realize that. But that's what got him. That's when he finally said, "Look, that's enough. I'm getting sober,"
Right, exactly. And
and stuff
and
like that.
again, that is the big difference here. And I'm glad I'm glad I could bring it up, because I've wanted, well, other people brought it up, but I wanted to mention that, because, as a woman, I wanted to speak on this,
Yeah,
because,
yeah,
I've heard this a lot. And so, yeah, if you know if these guys hadn't bettered themselves, and said, "All right, I'm
yes,
going to rehab. I'm going to, in the case of John, it was Yoko, I think, who set him straight, and all that. If they hadn't bettered themselves, then I would have said, okay, screw them. They're jerks. They're,
yeah.
not excusing what they did in the
No,
past,
no, no.
but at least they did better themselves, and admitted
Yes.
that they messed up.
Yes,
You
and
know,
that's a growing experience. People make a lot of mistakes. Some people more than others, and
right?
again, this is in no way an attempt to kind of make it more minor. But the
No,
thing is, and I only know of a couple of stories. You have of John. One of them was his girlfriend that time before the Beatles were famous. There was one time with it was his Thelma, his girlfriend that he
oh,
went,
Thelma Pickles.
kind of gave her like a slap us or whack or something like that once,
Hmm.
and which is totally not okay. I'm not saying that. You always got.
Hmm.
I want that to be clear.
Yeah.
However, it was and then I think the same with Cynthia. I think it was pre-fame. Not that that matters. What it doesn't matter whether it's
Hmm.
pre-fame or late fame
Right.
or whatever. But what am I even saying it for? I don't because I'm trying to do it because he was younger and he was
Well,
growing
and
more.
again, I think in Liverpool, in that
Liverpool.
macho culture, that probably wasn't unusual.
But when people start saying wife beater,
Yeah.
habitual wife beat, it's a whole different connotation to that.
Yeah.
Beater like a
Hmm.
continuous regular thing,
Right.
You, you know,
It's
it's not that's not the same thing. But Even it was even mentioned on one of the panels. I got to give credit to Susan Ryan because she did mention something about that.
Oh, did
Not the
she? Oh, yeah.
not the hitting, but did say something in one of the panels. I think it might have been. Geez, was it the historians panel? I don't remember which one it was. Geez, I can't remember now. She said something about just the idea in general, not really pertaining because every time you hear these things about John now, it's all these horrendous things.
Hmm.
And at first he was like a saint deified when he was killed,
Yeah,
and
I remember that.
and she said, and Paul was nothing, and now it's flipped the other way around,
Yeah.
which is what I always felt. So I was like, that's how it is. It's changed. And she mentioned it like that. She said she did a tour, told the story of a tour she was on, and there were two people, and one of them was like, "How could you be doing this with this so and so, this
Yes.
lousy?"
She's told me that story.
Yeah,
Yes.
and she talked about that,
The
and
thing, yeah, it's
that has to
people
be
are
addressed.
complex, I mean, people are complex, and we really only see one side, of the people, the famous people only show you one side of, we only get that one side of, we're all complex, and you can't, nobody can claim to know somebody that's famous. And so,
Yeah, yeah, but
yeah, right.
it's blown out of proportion. This is a sore point with me for a long time. With
Hmm.
John. As I say, I didn't like him being Saint John
No.
after his murder. But then again, that almost comes with the territory when an innocent man is murdered. For a little while, they become like this the poor soul. He's he's been killed. You feel something for him. Uh, but now the way it's flipped too far, people don't even know. Young people, they just read one line, they read something online, and that's all
Right.
they don't want nothing to do with them, and it's like really out of control now.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, Elliot's mentioning the story about, yeah.
Yeah,
I don't know if I believe that's the
I
reason.
don't know where that comes from and everything. But I thought, and then there's always the thing that they got into a gang fight or something, and and Stewart
Yeah,
was
that's what
kicked.
I heard. Now, I mean, who knows? I mean, and I'm not, and believe me, I'm not saying like, oh, John could never do anything, and
No,
I work hero worship like that. I'm not saying that. But I just think, I don't know. Who are we to say? I mean, that one kick is the thing that did it. Who knows? I mean, it's
yeah,
hard to
and I
say.
don't know. Did he actually, John actually? I mean, I've heard that too. Did he actually did kick it, Stu? I
Yeah,
don't know.
hard to say.
Um,
Yeah, and I've heard this
and
too.
I've thought of this too, not for nothing, but I don't know. I mean, I think Heather Mills. I don't like Heather Mills. For people who can't stand Yoko, I'm not one of those people who can't stand her. But
Yep.
supposedly she's nothing compared to Heather. If you don't if you don't like
Yeah,
Yoko,
exactly.
but
Yeah, no, and I certainly did not like Heather. I mean, and that was a rebound thing, and Paul obviously should not have married her.
yeah,
And but yeah, as Marcus said, nobody should be hero worshipped. Absolutely. I mean, I admire people for their creative talents and all, obviously, but yeah, nobody's perfect.
no,
That's
and
the
that's one
main
of the
thing.
things I loved
Nobody.
about John. I'm not that he did that, but the fact that in general he was flawed and he was, you know, he had his problems and he sang about them and his insecurities and stuff like that. And he was always trying to work at this. Like that's why he said that's why I'm always on so much about peace.
Hmm.
He said I was a violent man trying not to be violent. Like he's trying to grow to better himself. Don't forget he was only 40 when he was killed, and 40 doesn't
Exactly.
seem very to you 20-year-olds. It seems old. 40 is not old.
No, no. That's the thing. I mean, that's yeah, and and that's the yeah, and that's certainly that could be,
Well, I
but
don't think he would have really. He really loved Stu.
yeah, I mean, I can't imagine him doing it on purpose. And, and who knows, I think that's unfair to say, oh, that's the kick that caused the brain hemorrhage. Who knows? I mean, you know, I certainly didn't do it on purpose. Yeah, I mean, certainly,
They
he
weren't that great to their wives. Well, I'm saying not Paul. I mean, Paul, by all accounts, was pretty good to Linda. I mean, look,
yeah.
this gets crazy. I once at my record store, all types come in. There was a guy who said that he did something to do with the entourage for Wings. He was like
Mhm.
involved with like transporting things and stuff, and he witnessed Paul being verbally, not physically, abusive to Linda, yelling at her and stuff like that.
I've heard
I
they
don't
could get
know.
into fights. Yeah.
This is one guy, but you know what I say? I'm going to defend Paul too. So what? Or maybe she yelled at him. I mean, I've had
Yeah.
things where
Right.
a woman yell at me too, or call me,
Hmm.
if you're in a bad. These are human beings. Things happen behind closed doors you don't even want to know about. Who knows
Right.
what? Who knows what kind of arguments they had? And I'm not talking about fisticuffs. That's a whole other thing.
Right. That's a
But as,
whole other thing. Yeah.
but
Yeah, and it's yeah. Joseph B says, yeah, couples fight. It's normal. Absolutely.
right,
I
right.
mean, yeah, sure. I wouldn't put up with a guy cheating on me right and left. I mean, but that's with George and Patty. I mean, I don't know. I don't know about their private lives, but that's what happens, and in these marriages, who knows? I mean, it's their private lives. I mean, who
Yeah,
knows?
yeah, yep. So, whew. That's how we want to get into that territory. You
Yeah,
never
no,
know
but
where it's
I'm
going to
I'm
go.
glad. No, I'm glad because as I said, I've read these comments over and over, and I wanted to speak on that, as a woman because when I read about John abusing women and all this stuff, it's like, look, as a woman, here's how I feel about it. And so I've wanted to talk about that. So this is great.
Oh, great.
Yeah, and that's true. I mean, that's absolutely. Linda was not a shrinking violet.
Right.
That is
Although, did
true.
you ever notice? I always love it in the Get Back movie. There's like the part in that second part at the beginning where they're waiting for John to come in and George left, and they're all sitting around talking, and Linda's there, and she doesn't say too much, and then as soon as Paul leaves to get a phone call from John, and so she's like, "Yeah, oh, we saw Help in a Hard Day's Night last night, and that was them. That was them. They were just they love people love to see them. And all of a sudden she's like allowed to talk because Paul's not there.
Yeah.
That's what feeling
Hmm.
I get. And then Paul comes back, and at one point he jokingly says, "You stay out of this, Yoko." To
Oh
Linda,
yeah, that's
says, "You
right.
stay out of this, Yoko," like
Yeah.
that. So I'm like, these are little hints. I don't know what to tell you. They're
Yeah, that's
playing
true.
it.
I
He's
forgot about
kidding.
that part.
He's kidding, but
Yeah. Yep. That is interesting. Hmm. Hmm. Yep.
I didn't
That's
see the Billy Joel video, but I did
I
like
saw it.
the song. I only heard it once. I liked the song. Didn't love it, but I liked it, and I only heard it once. I thought I liked the words. I liked the words. I liked the power of his vocal,
Yeah,
and I
his
kind
vocals
yeah.
sounded great.
I didn't think it was a great music thing. But what did you
I
think?
Yeah, I'm still kind of iffy on the song. I mean, it's fine. I mean, it's a nice song. I mean, I guess in a way, Billy is, to compare Billy to himself. I mean, it's so hard because he's just, he's done so many incredible songs that I mean, this is going to pale in comparison to,
Yes.
I've seen the video and it's a bit like the one of Paul's, a few years ago where they de-aged him um, with the Find My Way, the Beck remix where they had him, a young Paul dancing in the hallways with
Yeah.
yeah. Um, I'm, I don't know. Jeff Jefferson's going to be disappointed in me saying this because he said he loved the
Hi,
video.
Jeff.
Yep. So I hope you're not going to be mad at me, Jeff, when I say this. I'm just not super crazy about these. I don't know if you can call them AI videos
Yeah.
exactly. But Billy's not dancing in this. I mean, it's not that.
Okay.
But I'm not. I don't know. There's just something a little creepy about it to me. Where they first show Billy as he is now. He's sitting at a piano, playing and singing the song, and then they kind of pan away for a minute, and then when they show him again, it's like him as he appeared in maybe like the mid 70s, like the Piano Man era, and he's singing. Then they
Yeah,
pan away again, and then they come back, and it's like him in the early 80s. Then they
sure.
pan away again, and
They
then
do
it's
that. They did that with the Stones video too, didn't they?
kind
For
of, yeah, it's kind of like
showing
that.
early Stones.
Yeah. And then at the, toward the end, then it's him as he appears now. It's like that. Um, I don't know. I just, there's just something about it that's just a little creepy to me. I don't know. That's just me.
Yeah,
I would have just preferred seeing him now for
yeah.
performing.
I gotcha. I
You know
feel
what I
that way
mean? It's
sometimes.
just
Yeah.
it's authentic, you know. I can handle seeing him the way he is now. I mean, I oh, and then they show clips at one point in the video of him, just like throughout the years, like authentic
Yes.
clips.
Yes.
And I mean, it's just like why can't we just see him the way he is now? He's still performing. I mean, he's still vital. I mean,
Yeah. No problem.
yeah. I mean, I don't know, but it just I don't know. I mean, that's just me. I know.
No, not just you. No.
Yeah. I mean, but I'm sorry. Sorry, Jeff. I know it's, I know you loved it.
By the way, Jeff, it was great seeing you at the show. By the way, it was
Mm,
great seeing you again.
mhm,
Um, I can't let this go because me and Woodland have a little fun here. I got to do this.
mhm,
Way back to when we were saying how the and get back the moment where Linda butts in or something, and Paul goes, "You stay out of this, Yoko."
mhm,
Woodland says, "Well, he was making fun of Yoko." Yes, he
mhm,
was. He was, but he was trying. But still, he didn't. It was he wasn't too. He didn't. I don't think he really liked the idea that Linda was
mhm,
butting in. That's why he did it in a playful way. I think he's
mhm,
making fun of Yoko, but he meant don't interject. Don't interject. I don't know. Maybe
mhm,
not.
mhm.
Maybe not. I
Yep.
I certainly always want input from my girlfriend. I always I always like input. Always welcome that. And I don't know why that people are bothered by that too. Like they're in the recording studio or something, John and Yoko, and they might say, "Oh, it needs to be a little louder or something." She'll say, "You think so? You think it is? You think Yoko it needs to be a little?" Like they'll talk, compare
Mm.
notes, and like who is she to tell John how to do that? She doesn't have to be one of the Beatles. She could say,
Yeah.
"Well, I think it sounds better with a little more bass on it. That I like that better."
Right.
It
Yeah.
doesn't mean she can't have an opinion because she's a woman, and
Right.
I
Yeah,
don't understand that.
exactly. Yeah, really. Yeah, somebody else mentioned yeah, that back to the AI thing and all that. Yeah, ABBA did the same thing a couple of years ago. Yeah. You know,
Yeah,
and it's sometimes like, like they think people can't handle seeing, older people. you
mm.
know, people as they look now performing songs. It's like we can handle it. It's all right.
Uh,
It's all right. You can show how you look now.
yeah, yeah. We don't mind. We don't mind.
Yeah.
Please, he looks all right now. Um, Woodland's asking me to if I ever heard this thing. John Haters said that in Get Back, when Yoko and Linda sat together for their girl talk, that they were plotting ways to break up the Beatles. I've never heard
Oh
that,
my
but I'm.
god.
Oh, stop! I'm so
Oh
tired of
my
it.
god.
No,
Really?
they come up with anything, anything.
Give me a break. Oh man. Yeah, me
Yeah,
too.
that would be
I hope
nice.
so.
That would be
I'd
nice.
love it. Absolutely. I mean, even though I'm not, super insane about this new song, I would still love it because boy, his
Yeah.
voice sounds fantastic.
Yeah, he sounds really good, and I like the build up. It's like it started out. I was like, a little, it's a little boring, a little dull. Then it got more and more grand as it went
Yeah.
on. Yeah, you know.
Exactly. Hey, I'll still take it. I mean,
Oh, sure.
but and as I said, it's hard to compete with yourself. I mean, when you're Billy Joel and you've written those incredible songs, and I will say the one thing I did like about the video, I mean, particularly the kind of montage of clips, it was a little bit like the Now and Then video toward the end.
Uh,
Um, that it did make me reflect on just I mean, I felt like I've grown up with him, and you just think, wow, his songs are really the soundtrack of my
Mm-hmm.
life in many ways,
Mm-hmm.
and so it really did make you reflect on that. So sure, I'd buy an album of his,
Yeah.
absolutely. I mean, I'd take it.
Look at this. Woodland, what it all boils down to is that we shouldn't hero worship John Lennon just as much as we should not hero worship Paul McCartney. Well, I'm sorry, Marcus. Paul is my idol. You just earned another one, buddy. I gotta. That's fun. I love that thing.
Well, I should introduce you. One of my former professors from college wrote a book on the Three Stooges. He's a Three Stooges
Oh,
expert.
really?
I should introduce you.
Wow. Trying to find other ones I could use here. And I'm tired of everybody. People. Oh, Yoko controlled John and everything.
Nobody controls me. I'm uncontrollable. Fuck you, brother or sister. You don't know what's happening.
There you go. There you go.
So there
I've
you
always
go.
said,
He may be gone, but in September of '80, before he went, he managed to get that in zing for all you people. It's
well,
longer than
that's
that, but I had to put it together.
well, that's what I've said. He was a big boy. He was a grown man, and I mean, give me a break. He was not being brainwashed. I mean, he chose her. He was a
Yeah,
grown man.
yeah,
End of
yeah.
story.
Yeah, you think it's the end of the story.
Yeah, you would think so, but
uh,
absolutely. hmm
well, 2 hours and 17 minutes. Doo-doo. I don't have to leave for another half an hour, but where are you, Tom?
Yeah, where's Tom been hiding? Jeez.
Could use Tom.
Unless he's, he might have to, work or something. I mean, what is he
Tom,
thinking?
where are you, Tom?
Well, you know.
Boy, you've got all the clips.
Yeah, I'm trying to get better with this stuff.
Oh man,
Uh,
that is.
trying to figure a reason to use that.
We'll have to come up with some for Talk More Talk.
Oh, we can do that. I don't know if you can do it on.
Yeah, I
Or
don't know.
StreamYard, you can do it on.
Some of these we can't.
I'm pushing for StreamYard. Keep pushing.
That's
StreamYard.
right. That's true. Oh, by the way, Talk More Talk. Monday night is the grand world premiere, if you haven't seen it already live, of the panel from which I'll be seeing for the first time too, of the panel that the guys did at the fest, which I was supposed to be a part of, but I couldn't. But it's the solo year in solo 1974, and want to give a big shout out here to Andy Nichols from Two Legs, who was also on the panel, was a crossover. He filmed and recorded the panel for us. So thank you, Andy. Really appreciate it. And so it will be the grand premiere Monday night, 9 o'clock Eastern, the usual time on our channel. So be sure to join us for that.
Have you seen the Tom video? You must have seen it, right? With I have him dancing a little bit. Did you
Yes, I have
catch that?
seen that. That is so
What
fun.
happened was I was up on the top. There's like I call it top floor, and you could look down at the stage too. So I was up there, and Tom was down on the floor. So
Mhm,
I was recording things, and I had my camera off at the moment.
mhm,
And then he knew that I was up there, so he wanted to play to me for a
mhm.
joke. When Lawrence Juber started doing "My Love" on the guitar,
Uh-huh.
Jesus, Paul's on my mind all day today.
Yeah, Paul is like it's taking over your brain.
Tom, I guess I get them mixed up the two, Tom and Paul.
Mhm, mhm.
Tom started doing this dance to "My Love." Oh, this is great! I agree. He's playing for the camera, so of course I get the camera and he's doing this dance, and I'm like, I can't get it. It's all kinds of problems. I'm pressing the wrong button. Finally, I couldn't get it to work. Finally, I get it to work, and he's just about finished. He did a
Oh,
couple of moves. He did a dip, and then he said, "That's it, like this. I'm done."
Oh my
And
god.
I only got the last few seconds.
Oh, I loved it. He looked like he was in heaven.
Oh yeah, he was having a good time.
That was
He
so
was. He was.
great.
I think he had a little help, but I think he was having a good time.
Little help. Yeah, there were a few stories where I thought I think a number of people had help. That I think there were a lot of bars there. I heard.
Oh, now after all of that, he's going. No, I mean the other video when you mentioned Tom. Well, I saw this guy, Big Mike, at the record store, and he says he watches once in a while, our shows and everything. And he says Tom always says, and
Oh,
I never thought I never noticed that until then after he told me that. Now I notice it all the time.
oh, okay.
So he was imitating Tom Hunyadi there, and he was doing and I never really thought that he does that
Oh,
bad.
that's funny. No, I didn't. I guess that's true. I never really noticed that either.
Yeah, then now I notice it, and I think he's thinking about it now. Well, I try to do. I watch back because what? Because
Hmm.
because
You
I
know.
just watch back the panel because Robert S. Also recorded for me with the camera
Hmm.
the panel, and so I have my own copy of it. However, he didn't get everything.
Hmm.
He could. He didn't stand there for an hour. He took it
Right. Yeah. I
down,
mean, that gets a little tiresome.
and then so I took those segments and I kind of like edited them. I put it together the best I could and put it up on my. I put it up, and then I had it on mine first, and I didn't think to myself, wait a minute, this really should be a premiere.
Hmm.
So I did take it down. You know, a couple days ago.
Yeah.
So it's not, and I said in the description, I said, but for the full version, you want to watch Talk More Talk for the
Yeah.
full version.
Hmm. Yep.
So that's how I like kind of made up for that. So now
Yep.
it's down, and people see the full version.
Yep, yep. This will be the
You
complete
know,
version, and the
yeah,
sound will be a lot better because Andy managed to plug right into the soundboard.
good.
So the sound should be much better. So thank goodness it won't be as bad. Um, oh, great! I
Yeah,
haven't
I
seen
didn't
it.
see him Saturday. I saw him Sunday. On Sunday, as you see in my video, he did "I'm a Believer" again, but
Mhm.
he did "Last Train to Clarksville," and then he did "Good Morning, Good Morning."
Mhm.
Why I
Oh.
shut it off, I didn't want Good Morning," I don't know. I don't know why, but I did. I was hoping he was gonna do. I saw him do "Oh Darling" in 2012, and
Mm,
Kit, they did the Wing songs again, right?
really?
Did you miss that the first time?
I think I did.
Like Getting Closer and We're Open Tonight, Back to the Egg set and all that.
Oh no, no, I did see that. I did see
Oh,
that.
you did see it.
Yeah, I
Okay,
think I did. Yeah.
okay.
Yep. Yep. So that's
So,
cool.
but the last time Denny Lane was there too,
Yeah.
of course.
Yeah.
But
Yep. Yeah. Did they do like a Denny Lane? Was it like a
yeah,
Denny
I
Lane
didn't see
tribute?
I didn't see that show. They did a tribute show or something to Denny. I
Hmm.
didn't see that. There's so many things to do, and
I
I'm
know.
so upset. I've said this before too to people that I'm upset that May Pang, she showed up May Pang on Saturday, and I happened to be because you're always could be anywhere. I
Hmm.
happened to be in the right area when she was there, and I saw her, and there was a big crowd around her.
Hmm.
And who knows? Retaping, I'm recording everything.
Hmm.
Why didn't I record that? I don't know. I didn't
Hmm.
record it, and then I didn't want to go up to her because
Yeah.
I was afraid that even though I've said complimentary things about her, and I loved the new movie, there's times when I say still, oh, well, Yoko's the one. That's Sean's love, and I kind
Hmm.
of like downplay hers a little bit, and I just started feeling like, well, I don't know. I'm not saying she knows me, but it, I'm assuming she's seen all kinds of videos and things
Hmm.
that have been on YouTube about her movie reviews and things. So I was maybe she wouldn't want to see me. I should have took a chance. I should have said hello anyway.
No.
Maybe she wouldn't even know who that. Probably not that I'm anybody, but I'm not saying
Hmm.
that. But I'm saying maybe she saw the video and she went, "Well, this
Yeah.
is the guy that did the video," and the video was pretty complimentary to the movie, the review. It's just that I didn't pull any punches about that
Yeah.
part of it.
Yep.
You know.
Well, I'm sure she's heard everything, so I'm sure she would have been
Yeah.
fine.
But I
You
should have
know.
done. It's such a stupid wasted opportunity, and I try not to allow that to happen anymore. I've learned over the years, go for it now. These Davy Jones. There was a time when I was at a convention,
Mhm.
chiller convention over here where they have all kinds of stars, their
Oh yeah,
music,
I've
everything.
seen some of your videos on that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yes, and he was there one, and I was, he was one of the guests, and I remember like I was going to get his autograph, and I saw him standing, talking to somebody. Seemed busy so I said, next time.
Mhm.
There was no next time,
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know.
Yeah, that's true. Someone's asking me. I have been, Mike. I've been going to the Chicago Fest. I think it was like 93 or 94. I was in college.
Hmm.
Do the math. That's how long I've been going. It's
Yeah,
been a long time, but yeah, that's how long I've been going. Long time, like 30 years. Well, I guess not counting the COVID years. But
yeah,
I've never missed a Chicago Fest, other than those years, obviously, that they didn't
very good.
have it. Um, and Apple Pits, I will check out Abbey Road medley. There we go. Performance on your page. Okay, cool. Was that did you do that at the
Un-
fest?
Under Apple Pits. Well, he didn't go to the fest.
Oh,
He
you didn't go to
sort
the
of.
fest. Okay, so that's another gotcha.
Yeah,
But
I'm glad. I hope you come, Jeff. Yeah,
yeah,
now I'm hoping it's attended well because I think the last one in Chicago? It's a little weak.
it was a little bit, and I'm not quite sure why, because the year before was a bit light on attendance, and I think that was COVID fear, because that was the first fest after COVID,
22.
and I honestly think that's what it was. But last year, I don't know, because I'm trying to think who were the main guests last year. I don't know if it was the guests that were a little like, not great. I don't know. But because I thought, I mean, last year's fest was definitely better attended than the year before, and as I said,
Right,
I
right.
think that was COVID fear.
Oh, okay.
But I don't know. But yes, please come. It's really it's fun. It's a great time of year. Of course, August weather's great.
Yeah.
And the great thing about the hotel is there are a lot of good restaurants around it.
Oh, okay.
That some are in pretty decent walking distance, or you can easily Uber it. I mean, like
Okay.
it's like a 5 minute Uber ride. I mean,
Okay.
it's really fast. I think you can do deliveries too.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if they're as strict about it as they were, from what I understand, at the TWA. I guess
Yeah, I don't think
that
you could.
didn't work too well.
Yeah, yeah.
Now, you won't get the beautiful views like at the Jersey City
Right.
Hotel, but very easy access if you do want to go downtown to Chicago. I think there's a train, uh, L stop right nearby. Or again, if you want to Uber it, it's like a 20-minute drive to Chicago. I mean, really easy. And if you're flying in, right on top of O'Hare. I
Okay.
mean, and free shuttle to and from the
Nice.
hotel.
So I'm ready. I'm just hoping everything goes good, whatever. But I think
Yep.
this is a good time to wind it up because I got to get ready to go somewhere. But kid, I do want to talk to you about the fest off camera a little bit.
Absolutely. I'll give you all the deets.
So, so thank you everybody. This has been great. I'm so happy that Kit came up here. It was just going to be me solo. Then I'm like, oh, Kit's here. I hope she'll come up.
Yeah, this was
And there it
fun.
was. So we had a good time. And thank you all. And don't forget, Talk More Talk is going to be on Monday at 9 p.m. Eastern is when it's going up, I guess, the
Yes.
usual time.
Yep. Usual time.
Our 1974 panel that we did at the Fest for Beatles fans talking about the highlights of 74.
Hmm.
So join us, everybody,
Hmm.
and talk to you all very soon. Peace and love. Peace and love. No
Peace and love.
autographs.